Hello everyone, welcome back to Say What with James and Lakesia, and we are here to give some more reviews for the month of November.
Yeah, we saw 4 movies in November: Absolution, was Heretic, Red One, and Gladiator II.
Yes, and in case you didn't know, he's James, I'm Lakesia, and this is Say What with James and Lakesia. And make sure that you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and go over on Facebook and like our Facebook page.
Okay, this Absolution, man, wasn't like I thought it was gonna be an action movie because Liam Neeson was in it, but it didn't have the action. And what'd you say?
Well, Absolution, unfortunately, it was a cross between Taken, Memory, and Run All Night. But honestly, it doesn't quite live up to any of those. Now, I didn't actually see Run All Night, but I did see pieces of it when you were showing it to me. But it's just not what I'm used to from Liam Neeson. Now, he plays Thug, and that's his name, Thug. He's an aging Boston gangster who's diagnosed with CTE. And that's a neurodegenerative condition often seen in athletes like Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah, and I could be wrong, but I thought you only could diagnose a person with CTE after they died.
True.
Yeah.
But in this case, this long-time criminal was diagnosed with it. And so just like you said, when I was doing the research for this, that was one of the flops or errors that was made in the movie, because that could only be made after someone's death.
Mm-hmm.
So really, the diagnosis should have been presumptive. And they could have even explored other treatment options or an alternative diagnosis.
Yeah.
But they just threw that right into the plot, and here we go. And I just wasn't feeling the relationship with Thug and his daughter, Daisy.
Oh, she seemed like she hated him.
Yeah, she was played by Frankie Shaw. Now, she really did a great job playing someone who couldn't stand him. She hated his guts.
He was trying to reconcile with her, but she just won't have it. I don't know.
Well, he left he left her maybe as a child, but his father, he had a strained relationship with his father. And so it passed on to the relationship with him and his kids. And then when he called about his son, to check on his son, didn't his son?
He was dead.
Pass away. Was dead. Yeah, so it was just out there.
It was rough because he really was starting to
try to reach out to him and
reach out. And he couldn't remember nothing.
It was just like Memory. I mean, you were a hitman in Memory, but you can't remember who you trying to put the hit on.
Also was Hitman and Run All Night.
Yeah, so, yeah. And then I just didn't get the love interest, Yolanda Ross, who played the character Woman. I just didn't get it, because when he first walked into the bar and met her, she was with a gentleman that, he looked like they fit more. He had muscles and everything, and didn't Thug knock him out? Didn't they get in a fight?
Yeah.
And next thing you know, they dating. I don't know if you can call what they were doing dating, because she was at the house and they was in the bed. So, and she looked like she could be his daughter, so that felt weird.
Yeah. Yolanda Ross plays in The Shy. She was little Kev's mother in The Shy.
Yeah, and so then we go from him trying to restore his relationship with his daughter to him going on a run with the drug boss's son, and then...
Which they was into sex trafficking.
And wasn't that ran by Gambrero, who was played by Javier Molina?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it did feel rushed, and it felt poorly developed, and it just didn't work for me, because we went again from Memory to Run All Night to now we're up in Taken with this sex trafficking scene.
But the only thing in this, it lacked all the action. Didn't have none of the action.
Well, I mean, we have to admit that I should have looked up his age for the video, but he's pushing what, about 70 now? I don't know.
It don't matter. He still can.
He looked his age in this though. I'm sorry, he did, but
they just tried too much.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we really didn't feel this one. It did have all the ingredients for a great thriller. We had the family drama, the redemption, the crime, but it just didn't deliver.
Not a Liam Neeson action movie. I like Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
Y'all normally have good action movies. It just didn't have that.
The tone was uneven. The relationships were hollow because we had woman who was trying to help him restore the relationship with his daughter. When she found out he had CTE, she tries to go along with him to a dinner with to meet with his daughter and tell her what's going on, but the daughter didn't show up. Liam Neeson gets drunk and passes out, so she has to take him back to the house, but she invites the daughter over where she tells her what's going on. He gets up, he's furious that she's told his daughter about his diagnosis. It's just crazy, but I did like the little boy who played his grandson. He definitely had an African-American dad. I'm going to just put it like that. He was a cute little boy, and they did get to spend some time together. I guess he picked him up from his football game or baseball, whatever game. Even though she didn't want to have a relationship with him, she allowed him to spend some time with his grandfather. I thought that was pretty cool, but you know, it was crazy because he went to go save the prostitute, she wasn't really a prostitute because she was forced into sex trafficking. So he went to go save her to get the money that she asked for as far as being released. But then come to find out, she had gotten hurt. She got murdered. So he was unable to save her. But he got his revenge with the sex trafficking king or whatever. He took all those guys out, so he wasn't that old.
It's not like used to seeing from Liam Neeson.
Yeah, so I was just like a little disappointed. So did you guys see Absolution? What were your thoughts on it? Did it hit the mark for you? I mean, are you underwhelmed like we are? I don't know.
Let us know in the comments at the bottom.
Yeah, so don't forget to like the video and let us know what you thought about Absolution. I mean, I am a Liam Neeson fan, so this, hurts me to say. But out of 4 films for the month of November, I'm going to have to give this one a 4.
Yes, it was the last for me too.
So let us know what you guys think. Okay, so up next, we have the movie Heretic. And we were just having a debate about the movie because where I thought Absolution should have been number 4, according to James.
I mean, it was close running. It was a close running for number 4. But the only reason I put it number 4 was because this won't Liam Neeson type of action in a movie.
Well,
But Heretic, which we're about to talk about now, wasn't too much better.
Well, I thought that that Heretic was all right. It took a psychological thriller. We add a heavy dose of religious critique, and we have a whole bunch of Hugh Grant talking.
Yeah, he talked too much in the movie. I mean, it could have been better. But he did so much talking. He was like a debate the whole movie. They were just debating.
So basically, James is saying his man did not know when to stop. So, I mean, but seriously, every time you thought the conversation was winding down, he went off on another tangent. Don't get me wrong. His performance was creepy, manipulative, and agonistic. But it was a lot. I mean, seriously, every time you thought the conversation was winding down, Hugh Grant went off on another tangent. Don't get me wrong, We were looking forward to this. I loved his performance in 9 Months and all the romantic films he starred in. I can't even think of them off the top of my head. And this performance was creepy. It was manipulative. But it was a lot.
Yeah, when we saw the preview, we thought it was, I mean, because the two young ladies in the movie, the Sister Barnes and the Sister Paxson, which Sister Barnes played by Sophia Thacker, and Sister Paxson was Chloe East. They were two of the most naive people I ever seen.
We just couldn't get over how naive they were. Now, they did a great job playing those characters because they were very convincing. But now, all I have to say on that is, for me personally, when you say, hey, you know, because they believe, I could be wrong, that you're saved by works. When I would have saw all those steps and had to take that bicycle up all those steps, and I didn't even see them riding a bike.
Not once.
I'm out of here right then, because you know I definitely believe differently, but I'm not taking that bike up all those steps and then bringing it back down all those steps, and that's just me. And then I understand that they were young, but I'm not walking into a stranger's house.
Especially when they had rules from the first place where they don't supposed to, unless a lady is present, they don't supposed to come in.
Right.
And he can just tell them, well, my wife is here, but never brings the wife to the door. So y'all just come on in. And he locks the door behind them. Right.
And it was just crazy because, first of all, before I go, you know, out witnessing or whatever they were doing, I'm going to look at the weather forecast. Okay, so we see that it's going to be pouring down rain. And it's going to be pouring down rain. Secondly, it's going to be snowing. And I got this bike and I'm going to be riding it. No, that's not going to work for me. So they just overlook all the red flags. Like, I mean, when you walk in somebody's house, I'm noticing stuff right off top. You have a candle burning. Okay, what scent is that? And duh, blueberry pie is coming from the candle.
Plus, it don't take, he told him his wife was making the blueberry pie. And it don't take that long for her to come in there. If it was somebody that was there, she'd have came in there. You already asked them to bring your wife, and y'all just completely forget about the wife.
I mean, y'all going into such a deep conversation, and I'm like, okay, first of all, you're getting too deep. You're doing too much. Get out of there. But things just get worse and worse and worse, because if she couldn't come to the door, I'm not coming in the house. And we're in an age now where people are not eating food that people are giving to them that they don't know. They're not drinking drinks that people are giving to them that they don't know. That's the one thing that I can say that they did act like they had some sense on. They didn't drink the drink that he offered them. But he kept saying, oh, my wife's baking a pie. My wife's in the back. And then it's like, okay.
Finally, they something clicks.
Well, first, you take my jacket. But you're not taking it into the hallway and putting it in the closet.
Anyway, I'm not planning on being there that long.
You're not putting it on the little coat tree or coat rack. You're not putting it in the living room. You're taking it all the way in another room. What are you doing with my jacket? Bring my jacket back here. So we're not doing that. And it's just crazy. So eventually they're talking, and he knows all this stuff about Joseph Smith or whatever, and he's taking their words and twisting them and all this stuff. And then finally, when they asked about leaving, come back here. Or no, they asked about his wife. Oh, well, you come on back here and meet her. I'm not going deeper in your house. First of all, I'm coming to like the entryway. I might come to the living room. I might come to the dining room. But I'm going to keep the door in my view. I'm not going anywhere else in your house, because if something break off, I'm going to be running to that door. Secondly, if somebody comes looking for me, they're gonna hear me screaming because I'm not going nowhere else in your house.
Eventually, they finally got her. Something ain't right here, and they was ready to go. And
but that's when he had went back to go check on the pie and all this stuff, and then they ready to go. But then
she noticed that the pie, the candle was
the blueberry pie scented candle. But then they asked, well, can we finally meet your wife? And so he's saying, come on back here, and he takes them to like a makeshift like church, like a little sanctuary.
They eventually figured it out, and the girl acts like she's making a phone call.
Yeah, well, when he went back there, but he had already known that, spoiler alert,
he didn't get no phone calls
because he has metal in his house and is stopping all reception. Comfortable with the metals in the wall when they first came. So he already knew that they were lying about that. And instead of them saying, hey, you know, I'm just not feeling comfortable, or if I'm at your front door and you're asking me, hey, come on in, I'm not comfortable with that. First of all, it's raining. Let's reschedule this trip to when it stops raining, because we have this bicycle and we got to get all the way back to wherever we got to go. But no, it was just crazy.
And then what was even worse was they did finally say they wanted to go. He said, oh, you can leave anytime.
No, it was.
And they asked him, could he open the front door? And he's like, well,
it's
on a timer, so it's not going to open.
Now, was this before or after he showed them? He showed them the game of Monopoly, and he showed them
after.
This was after he showed them Monopoly and how you had the game landlord or whatever that Monopoly allegedly took the idea from, and then he showed them the cheap version, which had the guy with the white gentleman with the afro. I can't remember his name, but everybody else knew him except for me.
Painter.
Yeah. So then he talks about Judaism, Christianity, and Islam based on those things like Monopoly, how the landlord game was the original. And then he plays, he's like, have you heard this song, which is Radiohead's Creep, but it was really stolen from someone else's song, and then someone else used that song, and Creep or Radiohead sued them. It was just a lot of extra stuff that, first of all, what does this have to do with you converting? We should have been gone, because it had to be like a whole hour that they were there.
Yeah, but then
he gives them a choice. Well, you can leave anytime.
They could go through.
And
one was belief, the other was disbelief.
But the funny thing about it is they both led to the same place, and they're like, we can't just go through the front door. And who was it? Was it Burns? Someone? Can we leave? Can we leave, please? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. So they end up going down into this
dungeon.
Yeah. It was just crazy, because we get into the whole sequence with the prophet, who just turns out to be part of Reed's twisted, orchestrated plan. It was disturbing.
And he gave her, poison?
Yes, it was supposed to be some type of poison.
He said, if you believe
that you can eat this, you can
be healed.
Take the poison, and he was miraculously going to bring you back. It was going to be like a near-death experience. But all the while, it was just a fake orchestration of his craziness. But then they end up getting into it with Reed, and one of them ends up getting stabbed. He ends up saying that she has a microchip in her arm, which is actually birth control. It just showed how manipulative he was, and he was going to do anything to prove his view of the world.
That his, what he thought was the greatest religion of all, which was control.
It really is, though, if you really think about it. It led to a chamber full of women in cages. It was just crazy. And it was just crazy. But I do agree that control is one of the strongest forms of religion. And we're not trying to make this like a biblical review, but the whole point is, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there's liberty, there's freedom. But anyway, he was obsessed with proving his point, And he actually started out as someone that was studying the religion, and it took him down this deep, dark hole. And it was just, it was... Okay, so let's talk about the ending. I felt like Sister Paxton, the way she acted at the end was terrible. But watching her play as she was bleeding out, it was just crazy. I'm like, get your butt up and finish Hugh Grant off. And then
basically gave up. She was saying that prayer really didn't work anyway. So
yeah, but then we had the other
girl that he stabbed.
She
thought she was dead. Well, he actually slit her throat.
Yeah, so we did think that she was dead, but she came to the rescue.
So I guess the prayer worked.
Yes, so that Sister Paxton could get her sorry behind on out of there, because she should have been able to finish him off. So that's our take on Heretic. I thought that for the month of November, that this was the, I had to say,
It was the
third best film that we've seen this month. It did have some parts where we were on the edge of our seat, but I did feel like there was too much talking and not enough action.
Yeah, talk way too much.
Yes. So let us know in the comments what you thought about Heretic, and let us know what you thought about Hugh Grant's performance and Sister Paxton's performance. So thank you. Okay, so up next, we have our movie review for Red One. And I must say that when we got ready to pick a movie for this particular night,
it wasn't our second, first, third, or fourth choice, but it was the only one there. So
yeah, the only one that was playing that we hadn't seen. Yeah. So, I mean, when I saw that The Rock was in it and Chris Evans, hey, I was kind of excited. But in the movie theater, even though when we go on a night where it's not really busy, it was probably about 5 other people in there, but I had a great time. I was rolling in my seat laughing. I probably was the only one. Because when we left out of the movie, I was like, man, that was way better than I expected. What you think, James? And he didn't have the same reaction, so I said, okay. Yeah, so I thought it was crazy, but that it was supposed to be like a kiddie film, the theme, the content, Santa Claus, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I found it super entertaining.
Yeah, well, the whole thing about the movie was it was played by J.K. Simmons, Santa Claus was, and he was a Santa Claus. He wasn't like a regular Santa Claus. He wasn't fat. He was trying to get jacked, and The Rock was his chief of security of the Elf organization, of the Elf. And what's his name? Chris Evans, he was a hacker. That's what he did for a living.
Jack O'Malley.
Yeah. And so he hacked the location of Santa Claus. And that's where the whole thing kicked off at.
Yeah, because it's all about business, trying to keep Christmas on track. But Jack is a total Santa skeptic, which is Chris Evans. And it makes for some fun back and forth. And let's not forget Krampus, played by Christopher Hoover. Santa's estranged brother. I didn't know Santa Claus had a brother. Did you guys know? Who has a complicated relationship with him over the naughty list. And we also have Grula, the Winter Witch. And I didn't even know we had a Winter Witch, but I thought the movie was so cute. I mean, it would probably be more for like preteens and little kids, like our granddaughter. She's 3. It probably would have been for older kids, maybe about 10 or 11. But I thought it was a cute movie. And to me, you put The Rock, Chris Evans, when I saw the preview, and he was like...
It did have some action, though.
And he was like, I could tell, out of everyone in the room, I already don't like you. He's talking to The Rock.
Because they sent the they finally located him. They sent guys to go pick him up, but he wore him out.
Well, yeah. So let's back up a little bit. Spoiler alert: if you haven't saw the movie, watch it first. So it starts off with him doing a job, and the way that he does his job is so crazy. He just goes into Starbucks, takes somebody's coffee, then steals somebody's paper. He's just stealing stuff and going in places, taking badges. I mean, he makes it look too easy. Then he gets the information on where Santa is. However, he doesn't know that that's who the information he's getting is regarding. And so then he has to go, he gets a call from his ex-wife, girlfriend, whoever, to pick up his son. The way he's acting, I'm thinking this got to be his nephew, because who doesn't want to pick up their child? She has to basically remind him, hey, this is your kid too. So he goes and gets the kid, but on the way back to the house, he has some unexpected guests. This reminded me of a scene out of Deadpool and Wolverine. The only thing is Jack O'Malley was able to handle these boys, and I'm like, they were terrible. They were shocking each other. They took each other out. So that was just great for him. And then he ended up getting caught by who? Lucy Liu.
Yeah, Lucy Liu ended up getting him.
Yeah, it was good to see her in the movie. And
she also worked with the mythological
society. It was,
it'd be things like the headless horseman and stuff like that. All myths they go around, and when they got Chris Evans, Jack O'Malley, he's seen all these different things.
So up next, we have our movie review for Red One. Now, in all honesty, this wasn't exactly our first choice.
Wasn't even our second choice. But every other movie that was there, we had already saw. So we had to pick something, so we picked Red One.
Exactly. But you know what? I had such a good time. I was rolling in my seat. I was laughing hard. Probably the only one, considering there were 5 other people in the theater.
Yeah.
We did have fun.
I wasn't laughing like that.
And I thought that we both enjoyed the movie until we walked out. And I said, that movie had me rolling. And I found out that James did not feel the same way.
It was okay, but it was real kiddie too. I don't really.
Well, I mean, yeah, it was maybe for like a preteen. I wouldn't say like a little small child, and maybe not a teenager, but you have to admit it was super entertaining. It did fall into the cute movie category. Not groundbreaking, but fun in its own way, and it was definitely a great family film.
Yeah, the whole movie is about J.K. Simmons was Santa Claus, a Jack Santa Claus at that. He's not the regular Santa Claus. He worked out.
He was fit.
Yeah, and he got kidnapped by what was her name? Grilla.
The Winter Witch.
The Winter Witch. She kidnapped him, and The Rock. He was head security.
Caleb Drift
of the Elves, the Elves organization, and Jack O'Malley was Chris Evans, who was a guy who didn't believe in Santa Claus or Christmas or that.
He was a rogue hacker.
Yeah.
So Caleb is all business, trying to keep Christmas on track, but Jack is a total Santa skeptic, which makes for some fun back and forth. And let's not forget Krampus, played by Christopher.
Santa Claus has a brother named
Hajo.
Some big.
His estranged brother, who has a complicated relationship with the naughty list. Now, I've never known Santa to have a brother, but let's go back to when I saw the preview for this movie, and I saw that Chris Evans, who plays Jack O'Malley, when he was being interrogated, or he was being questioned by the group. Lucy Liu was in there. Yay for Lucy Liu. And he said, I can already tell out of everyone in here, I like you the least, talking to The Rock. So, I mean, when you throw Chris Evans in there and The Rock, you know it's going to be a great movie. You didn't think so? I did.
It was okay. But yeah, when they were interrogating him, the room was, Lucy Liu was over the mythological, what was it, mythological creatures, like groups, and they monitored them. And the Headless Horseman was one of the people he was like, that's the Headless Horseman? Stuff like that. He's like, yeah, these people are, so they were real, so.
Yeah, she was over that mythological world, whatever.
Yeah.
The mythological creatures.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of the world, but
the
organization. But yeah, I felt like the plot did try to balance the action, the humor, and the heart. It was a little bit chaotic, but I did feel like J.K. Simmons as Santa was perfection. He brought such fun, griff, and energy to the role.
And he had a lot of stuff like for kids, like you remember the big polar bear.
Yeah, Renando Faberlight, the polar bear agent, who was voiced by Renando Faberlight. And I like when it first started out, we have Jack O'Malley, who made hacking seem cool. It was like this Joker was he just didn't care. He walked in Starbucks, stole somebody's coffee, he stole somebody's newspaper, he stole somebody's badge. He was stealing things all the time, not getting caught, and it was just crazy. And basically walks in, hacks into a computer system, unknowingly tells the criminals or the Winter Witch's crew where Santa Claus is. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen the movie. Watch this review after the movie. Then his ex-wife, girlfriend, whoever calls, and I actually thought that she was calling about his nephew because he didn't want to pick up his kid. Who doesn't want to pick up their child? So he goes and picks up his son, but then on the way back to his house, it was like something out of Deadpool versus Wolverine, where they had those little things where they were sticking you with, and it was able to transport you back in time.
They weren't that good at what they did.
But they took credit for beating themselves because they were hitting themselves. And it's like when you got hit with it, you just like froze.
Well, it was like he was doing it though. Okay, he was manhandling.
That must have been their first day. They needed more training.
Yeah.
But they was sticking each other, and then he just gets caught by Lucy Liu, which I thought that was really cute. It did remind me of that Deadpool and Wolverine scene, but it did have parts where, it was like over the top, like the snowman.
Yeah.
The snowman. It was funny, but
fighting them on the kind of like on a beach or something.
Yeah, when they went to go find out who he had stolen the information from, trying to find out who had Santa Claus. And then the guy was like, I can't say her name. I have to write it in the sand.
I forgot
Yeah, he's a funny guy too.
He's in a lot of things.
Yeah, but
then
you
say her name,
she can tell where you're at. Yeah. And so, of course, Jack O'Malley, when they wrote it in the sand, he was like, Grayla?
Yeah.
And she found out, so she sent the snowman. But I just felt like it was a cute movie. In the end, they did get Santa Claus back, and the fighting scenes, it
had some action.
And the reindeer were the hugest reindeer I've ever seen.
Was big.
Now, the way that they got Santa Claus back, and the way that Santa delivered those toys,
he was jacked up for a reason.
Because they were like, hey, Santa Claus is a little bit more fit than I remember him being. He was. Because
and you wonder how he gets down the chimneys and stuff is because he has something he pushes and it makes him small.
Yeah.
He can go down. He makes the present small too, and once he gets inside the house, he hits it and everything gets
because Grayla ends up, she wants to get all the people that are on the naughty list. She wants to make you guys pay, you naughty listers. And she's thank God for Jesus Christ on the cross. We have grace. She was given no grace, and she's making everybody pay. So that's how she ended up also kidnapping Jack O'Malley's son, and he ended up getting him back. But it was a cute movie.
Yeah,
it was definitely Nice. And what did you rate that one for
it was
this
the
month?
second best movie of the month.
Yes, and I think I gave it a 2 as well. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great family film. If you haven't seen it, check it out. So make sure you like the video and let us know what you thought about the movie in the comments. So up next is our review for Gladiator II. And I would have to say, any movie that has Denzel Washington in it is definitely gonna be a hit.
And if it's Gladiators, you know it's gonna be action in it. And there's not a lot of action.
Yeah, well, I wasn't too thrilled. Gladiator has never been my thing, but Denzel Washington, I'm here for it.
Yeah, Denzel, he can play any role. And this time, once again, he kind of played the villain. He was playing both sides. He was Alonzo all over again, but in the Roman time.
Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. But let's get into it. For those who don't know, Gladiator II, and I did not know, picks up 16 years after the events of the first movie. It's about
Lucius,
the son of Lucille, and Maximus, played by Paul Mescal. So, I'm not a Gladiator fan. I have not seen Gladiator 1. I am a Russell Crowe fan, but I did not see Gladiator 1.
Yeah, it comes on. He's he has a wife now, Lucius. He's grown, and they're fighting against Rome. And Rome is trying. They got two twin kings. It's two kings, but they run together, and all they want to do is conquer all different parts over there. And they send the general now, who's played by, if you've seen if you watch, the general who played by Pedro Pascal, he was sent to conquer them, and which they did. They end up beating them, and he got captured because they killed his wife as well, but he got captured by them, and of course when they send them to Rome, they make them
slaves.
Gladiators, pretty much.
Slaves are gladiators?
Slaves, if they buy it. And what they did, they put them in the arena and let go baboons. It was baboons in there attacking them, and he killed the baboon. He killed one. And Denzel, whose name is Macrinus, he buys Gladiators. He said this was his interest, and he wanted to buy it.
Yeah, well, Denzel played a scheming ex-slave turned gladiator trainer who wants power at any cost. And I'll admit, the fight choreography was stunning, and the Colosseum scenes were gorgeous but brutal. I found myself cringing at the gorier moments, especially when he bit the baboon.
He bit it. The baboon was looking at him like, this brother's crazy. He must be crazy.
Now, I will admit, Denzel stole every scene he was in. His monologues and the layers of his character's treachery, deceit, underhandedness.
Yeah.
How low down and dirty he really was.
He was like, I'm telling you, he was Alonzo, except for he was in the Roman time.
And he really made me sick again. I couldn't believe he was a low down, dirty.
But that Denzel can act, man.
Yes.
And he was up for where he wanted to be in the Senate. They were asking him about the Senate, so he was playing against the Lucius's mother and
The twins.
the twin kings, and he did a great job.
And let's shout out the
putting them against each other.
Let's shout out the twin kings. One of them played in The Quiet Place.
Oh yeah.
They won, that you reminded me of, and then the other one, the one that looked like he could be Joaquin Phoenix's son, sounds like him, that just played in the Craven film. He was in there. He seemed a little, not the brightest crown in the box. Had a pet monkey or something.
Yeah.
But Denzel played those boys like some fiddles.
Yeah, and the Lucius, he wanted to kill the general Pedro Mas.
Yes,
Yeah,
his stepdaddy, right?
Well,
He didn't
want to step down. His mama. What happened? His mother went. They flash back to when Maximus was fighting in the arena, and before he died, and she came up to him, and he was like, "Well, Lucius will be okay now. He'll be okay." But the thing was, she knew she had to get him out of there because he was young. He was a young boy, a little more than 12, maybe 11, 12 years old. So he had to get him out of there because they would definitely challenge him to take over Rome, and she sent him away. And
yeah, but Paul, the one that played Lucius, he did hold his own. He
could fight.
Yeah,
he
and not only fight, he held his own in the role too. He delivered a great role. He played that part. He really did. And
I never seen him in nothing else before. But he pretty good.
Did you feel like the story was a bit much? I mean, 2 twin emperors, betrayal, revenge, and a gladiator revolt.
That's how it always be in the type movies.
That's how it always is?
That's how it always be with war. And the thing was, though, like I said, he wanted to kill the general. And the general, he couldn't stand the 2 twin kings. He didn't like them. He didn't like what they was doing.
Because he was planning a revolt.
Yeah.
He was planning to overthrow them, but somehow Denzel, with his messy of messiness,
and you remember
got in the mix.
The lady that was in the room listening with him.
Yeah, went back, tell that. Yeah. She went and ran and told that. And, of course, Denzel, again, with his messiness.
He had figured it out that she had a son, and he had figured out that he was, and if you, spoiler alert again, Lucius was actually Maximus' son. Yeah, but they end up pitting them against each other because once they captured the general, once the plan fell through.
Went awry because I wonder why. Because we had
Denzel.
Thieves in the temple, we had spies in the camp. We had a treacherous brother named Denzel Washington, played by, what was his name? Macromus. And he was low down. He was dirty. Oh, my goodness. He played the role.
He was short, though. And they put them against each other, and they was fighting. And he was like, he didn't really want to even fight him. But they had to fight. And he had bowed down to him. And he was like, my name is, or whatever. I can't remember the general's name. But I served with your father. Dad. He said, I'd have died for your father. And of course, one of the twin kings, in the gladiator thing, if they keep their thumbs up, you're all right. But they put thumbs down, you got to kill them. And he wouldn't do it.
Yeah, but I found it so interesting.
So they shot him with some arrows, remember?
Yeah, but the gladiator king, one of them ended up getting killed. And then Denzel.
That's because Denzel put them against each other.
Yeah.
Remember? Denzel said, he said he's out there talking about having you killed, having you overthrown.
And then, guess what? Denzel took the other brother out with his own bare hands. The blood was on his hands, and he didn't even care. Nonetheless, he played that role. He played it like a fiddle. He came in with those veneers, and he did the thing.
But the general had troops outside of the compound too, outside of Rome, waiting. Because they was planning on, after the gladiator games, overtaking the kings. So the mother had told Lucius, and Lucius, he got, it was one gladiator who was like a doctor there now.
Oh, yeah.
He had won his freedom. And he asked him, why do you still stay around? He said, because some woman he liked. So, but he asked him to go find them troops and bring them back.
Rally the troops.
Yeah.
Rally the troops.
Because they was going to overtake them.
Yeah. So you see how James was all in it. I'm just like, I'm here for Denzel's performance. And he didn't, I wouldn't say his performance was disappointing. But it definitely was not it filled with integrity. It was the lowest of the low.
But he had got through the problem. They once he killed the the one brother killed the other brother, and the other brother made him pretty much king of. He was definitely over the.
I mean, he played the part.
Yeah.
He worked the system. He did what he had to do. He was there for what he can. He bought it.
Yeah,
I mean,
he pretty much ended up being the king before it was over.
Yeah.
With. But spoiler alert: it won't be Denzel in the Gladiator III if they make it, because he ended up having to face off with Lucius in the end.
Oh, true. And if, like me, you were just there for Denzel, you won't be disappointed. But if you're not a fan of blood, gore, or just overly long movies, you might not want to sit this one out.
Yeah. But it was definitely the best movie I saw in November. It's one of to me, personally, it's one of the best movies I saw this year.
To him, personally. But this is going to be number one for me for November.
Definitely got my vote.
So, there you have it. Did you guys see Gladiator II? What did you think? What did you think about Denzel's performance? I mean, were you here for it? Did you think that he was going to be low down and dirty as he was? Did he play the role? What did you guys think? Drop your comments down in the comment section and let us know. And also, we're trying some new things with our setup. We are using currently InShot. What video editing software do you guys use? Give us some hints. We're trying to make this bigger and better for 2025. And we'll be coming more frequently with more movie reviews. It won't just be the latest and the greatest movies. We'll flashback some movies because to us, movies are masterpieces. We've been doing this thing for over, 30 years. This is something that we enjoy doing.
So
and
we always do.
And something that we continue to do. So we want to make this a fun environment for us all. So give us your thoughts in the comments. And if there's a movie that you'd like us to review, put it in the comments.
Yeah.
So until next time, we do thank you guys for watching. We hope you had a Merry Christmas or have a Merry Christmas. And we wish you a blessed and prosperous New Year. Don't forget to hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and tell your friends. And let's be friends. Thanks. Take care.
Yes.